Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Giant Take Podcast YouTube channel video. We're back with a first-round mock draft post-combine. The combine's concluded. It was a lot of fun watching all these prospects, and now we're going to use some of the information we got from the combine, along with other, tidbits, what, team needs, senior bowl stuff, and go through our 1.0 first-round mock draft. I'm excited. This is what I think is going to happen, not what I want to happen. Just want to clear that up before we get into it. But I'm excited, and let's go. All right, so first overall, going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm going to have Evan Neal, offensive tackle, Alabama, mocked to them as the first overall pick. There's certainly an argument to be made. EKWONU is an argument to be made. My personal favorite tackle in this class, Charles Cross, is another person you could possibly say to go number one overall. Hutchinson, THIBODEAUX. You could even make a case for Kyle Hamilton to go number one overall. But with Trevor Lawrence, you got to protect him. And I think that really brings it down to one of the three tackles. Evan Neal is the best in the run and pass game. He's the most balanced tackle. He's the highest upside. And I think the Jacksonville Jaguars would go his way as of right now when they're up on the clock at number one overall. That's who I have the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting. Number 2 overall, I have the Lions selecting edge Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan. He had a great combine, super fast 3-cone, which is extremely important for an edge rusher. And he, is already mocked to kind of go 1, 2. I think he goes 2 here to the Detroit Lions, and they get themselves a top tier pass rusher. And I think he is, at this point, pretty clearly the number one pass rusher in the class. You could argue he doesn't have the highest upside because of, his lesser athleticism, but I think he pretty much put those athleticism concerns to bed at the combine. And I think that's really what he needed to prove, and I think he did that at the combine for sure. And he's the first edge off the board, number 2 overall to the Lions. Number 3 overall, we got safety Kyle Hamilton. Did excellent at the combine besides his 40 where he ran a 4.59, I believe. But besides that, in the drills, in the vert, in the broad jump, he was excellent for sure for a 6'4 guy, 220. I think when you're the Texans, I look at the Texans team, you need everything. So why not take best player available at this point? And I think the best player available, the best player in this draft is Kyle Hamilton. You get good value here at 3, in my opinion. There's the positional value look at things as well. Safety is not the most important position, but I do think there's a distinction between something like a safety and a running back. So that's something to keep in mind. Kyle Hamilton, he's going to be a beast. And I think, for the Texans, just improving whatever way possible, best player possible. And you got something possibly in Davis Mills, so why not give it a try again and run it back in 2022? That's kind of why I didn't think quarterback for the Texans. And for the Lions, obviously, they have Jared Goff. Don't think they need to rush into picking a quarterback, especially when Hutchinson's on the board there. But that's my top 3. Going to 4, the Jets select edge KAYVON THIBODEAUX out of Oregon. He was mocked going number 1 overall for a very long time before this draft season really heated up. There's been some character concerns. He skipped out on all the drills at the combine. He only ran his 40. Saying he wanted to do the rest at his pro day so he can do linebacker and defensive line drills. He could have just done that at the combine, but I don't really know. There was a lot of there's some confusing stuff going around. There's some people saying that he's selfish. Not saying that I'm saying that. This is just what people are reporting. To me, I don't really see the issue. Some people have said he's a little bit lazy. Again, you don't see that in his game film. It would really be you'd have to talk to him and you'd have to find out that way. But I don't really see a problem, and I think the Jets will be able to overlook that for a top-tier edge rusher, probably the one with the highest upside in this class. And I really like KAYVON THIBODEAUX for them, and I think he really transforms their defense. And we'll see what they do at pick 10 later in this draft, which I think they may be able to bolster it as well. My favorite team, the New York Giants, get offensive tackle IKEM EKWONU out of NC State. Giants need a tackle. They need to tackle desperately. They need offensive line help desperately. EKWONU's there. He can play tackle. I think he may translate into a guard better at the NFL, but who knows? I think he'll be a very good tackle as well. I think EKWONU, he fills every need the Giants could possibly have. They need a tackle. They could possibly need guard help. EKWONU helps with all of that. IKEM EKWONU to the Giants just seems like a slam dunk pick. Number 6, the Carolina Panthers select Malik Willis out of Liberty. He had a good combine, especially in the drills part of it. He didn't run the 40. We'll see how he does that on his pro day. But Malik Willis, I think he's at this point pretty sure to be the first quarterback off the board in this Panthers system. I think he fits nicely. They've got some weapons. They got Christian McCaffrey, and that Christian McCaffrey, Malik Willis, whether it be read option type of stuff between those two, there's some exciting things there you could see at the Panthers. They already have a pretty solid defense. It would be about now, if you draft Malik Willis at 6, fixing that offensive line throughout the rest of the draft, and that's something you definitely have to take a look at. But I have them taking Malik Willis here, number 6 overall. Giants back on the clock here at number 7. They select cornerback AHMAD Sauce Gardner out of Cincinnati. He ran a 4.41 at the combine. Many thought he was going to run it maybe in the high 4.5s, low 4.6s. He ran a 4.41. He's tall, long corner, humongous, wingspan. He ran a 4.41. A lot of people didn't think he was going to be that quick. A 4.41's perfectly quick, if not very quick. And I think he has the potential to be a lockdown corner in this class. I have him as my number 1 corner in this class. I really like Sauce Gardner. And I think with the eventuality that James Bradbury is either going to be cut, traded, whatever it may be, I think the Giants are going to need a corner. And I think Sauce Gardner is the best in this class and a very good corner. I think he will translate to be a very good corner at the NFL level as well. Number 8 overall, the Falcons. I have them selecting edge George Karlaftis out of Purdue. I really like this guy. Again, some athleticism concerns with him. He didn't run the 40, which is kind of interesting at the combine. But you look at his production at Purdue, I really like George Karlaftis. He's my number 3 edge in the class. And I think he just has such a high motor, and he's good in the run game. He can power rush. He can, speed rush. He's got it kind of all. Technical abilities, he has it. He really just has everything, just not the upside that some of the other guys have in this class. But I think the Falcons look at him at number 8 and they're like, this guy, he works for us. And I think he's going to be solid for them. And I think he's probably one of the most pro-ready behind Hutchinson edge rushers in this class. Number 9, this is probably my favorite pick of the draft. Edge Travon Walker blew it up at the Senior Bowl, at the combine, and he ran 4.5. He was, he put up a great 3-cone number. He looked excellent in the drills. He just kind of is a jack of all trades type of guy. He can play on the inside, play on the outside. He can drop back in coverage. He does everything. And that Broncos defense is already so good. And at this point, Malik Willis is off the board. I don't think any of the quarterbacks really warrant this pick at number 9. You're hoping you get a quarterback maybe, in the offseason, in free agency, maybe trade for one. I think that would be your goal here. But Travon Walker, Von Miller, there's been rumors he may come back. Imagine him, Travon Walker, Bradley Chubb. You can move Travon Walker inside. All the flexibility in the world with Travon Walker, and I think he's going to be a great player at the NFL level. I think he moves up here to 9 at the Broncos. We haven't really seen him in the top 10 up until post-combine, so this is one of those big risers that I have here. And then next, number 10, like I said, the Jets need to improve their defense. They improve it once again. Number 10 overall, cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. out of LSU. Had that amazing freshman season, best corner in the nation. Hasn't really, struggled with injuries for the past couple seasons, but if you can get him to what he was in his freshman season, then you're looking at a damn good corner. And Derek Stingley Jr., I think he fits what the Jets want to do. Jets need to improve that defense. They double dip here. They get KAYVON THIBODEAUX, and then you get Derek Stingley. You are able to cover the receivers and you're able to rush the passer. I think this is a great draft so far for the New York Jets. And that concludes our top 10. Next, we have number 11 with the Washington football team. Another draft riser, combine riser, QB Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati. He ran a 4.4 or 4.5 at the combine. He looked great in drills. I think he's going to be the second quarterback taken off the board. Many people had Kenny Pickett. I'm going to go Desmond Ridder here at 11. Washington's going to need a quarterback. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get one in free agency or through trade. So we're going to have to see what happens there. If they are, obviously this would be negated, but excited to see what he does. And I think he might be pretty good at the next level. And I think Washington takes that risk on him at number 11. 12, guard Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M. I think he's a top 10 talent. Just don't see him really fitting anywhere else besides possibly the Giants at 7. But then I don't think you're going to see the Giants double dip at offensive line. So I do think he probably falls out of the top 10. And, this Vikings spot is pretty good. You still have Kirk Cousins. We'll see what happens with him. But protecting him on the interior, you can play 4 spots on the offensive line. You could, go out to tackle if you really needed him. And Kenyon Green, I think he's a great player for sure. Probably, a top 4, top 3, maybe borderline offensive lineman in this class. So good value there for the Vikings at 12. 13, we have wide receiver Drake London out of USC. He's a huge wide receiver, big threat. And you're going to need, that receiving core has been broken apart time and time again. Jarvis Landry's getting older. You really need a receiver no matter what you do at quarterback. This is another possible quarterback destination, but I don't think so. I think they rock with Baker for another year at least. Drake London out of USC, 13 to the Browns. 14, this is probably my favorite pick of the draft. Like I said before, I love Charles Cross. I think he's the best tackle in this class, but he falls to 14 in this mock. I think, I said this is what I think is going to happen, not what I would do. And I think Charles Cross falls to 14, and this is excellent value for the Ravens in the middle of the first round. You get a tackle. They've struggled a bit with offensive line as of late. They lost Orlando Brown. I think this really works out well for the Baltimore Ravens. And I think, this solidifies their offensive line. You got Lamar Jackson. You need to protect him. And I think it's perfect fit for the Ravens. 15, I've got edge David Ojabo out of Michigan. I think he's got some high upside. He's got great speed. He's not great in the run game. His hands, with power, he's not there yet. But he certainly has a ton of upside. And with 3 first-round picks, I think the Eagles take a risk on him. 16, I have them taking linebacker Nakobe Dean out of Georgia. I do think Dean's going to be the first one off the board. Lloyd did not have the most impressive combine, 4.7 40. A lot of people thought he was going to run much better than that. He did not. I think Nakobe Dean out of that Georgia defense, he goes 16th overall to the Eagles. And they're really just improving that defense. They're rushing the passer, covering. Nakobe Dean can do it all. And I think this Eagles draft is really, really good as we get further down the board. 17, I think Jordan Davis here. If Jordan Davis is there, they're taking him. Chargers were awful in run defense. And Jordan Davis, we saw him run that 4.7 40. My goodness, that man was rolling at 340 pounds. Truly impressive. But I think he goes to the Chargers, and he makes big impact for that defense. Wherever he goes, I think he makes a Vita Vea type impact, if not more. I think he's a very good player. There's been jokes. Dave Gettleman, if he was still with the Giants, would be drafting him number 5 overall. I wouldn't be shocked. But I would say he's a sleeper to go top 10. Wouldn't rule it out. You don't usually see nose tackles go that high, but Jordan Davis, something special. So maybe take a look out for that. Could go in the higher teens or even top 10. 18, to the Saints, they need a wide receiver. Garrett Wilson, he's my favorite wide receiver in this class out of Ohio State. Ran a 4.39 40. Looked good in drills. I think he's the perfect fit here for the Saints, along with Michael Thomas, who hopefully comes back this season. Eagles up again at 19. Kelsey, this is your Kelsey replacement here. Tyler Linderbaum out of Iowa might be the best offensive lineman in this class. but obviously at the center position, less value. 19, think it's great value for the Eagles here. And just keep building that offensive line, keep rebuilding it, I guess, in a sense. And I think Tyler Linderbaum, it's a perfect pick there for the Eagles. Like I said before, this is probably, if I had to choose a team who had the best draft here, probably the Eagles or the Ravens. Next pick, at number 20, I got the Steelers taking Kenny Pickett out of Pittsburgh. I think he's solid. I think he's going to be an average NFL quarterback. I think, a lot of people are like, Daniel Jones is average, whatever. I think he's going to has a very similar career to Daniel Jones. I think he'll go number 20, but he will have better surrounding cast in Pittsburgh. So something to take a look at. 8.5-inch hands. I know that was a big deal. Not as concerned as some people, but I do understand the significance of that as well. 21, I had the Patriots selecting Devin Lloyd. They look at him. Bill Belichick doesn't look for speed. He looks for technically sound players, and Devin Lloyd plays fast in game. And I think they get a steal here with Devin Lloyd at 21. Patriots type of player written all over it. And I think Bill Belichick doesn't hesitate when he is on the clock there. 22, Raiders. I have them selecting one of my favorite players in this class, cornerback Roger McCreary out of Auburn. Hopefully they don't ruin him. Their streak with first-round picks is not great recently. But let's hope everything goes well with him. I think he will because, just from things I've heard from him, interviews I've watched, he comes off as a really genuine person. I think he'll be okay in the Vegas spotlight. But again, a great corner, great man corner, and the Raiders certainly need that. They really have a very poor secondary at the moment. 23, Cardinals guard Zion Johnson, Boston College, a guy who is probably projected to go early second round after the Senior Bowl, after the Combine. I think he rises up into late first. And the Cardinals, they need to protect Kyler Murray. There's been all sorts of controversy about that, but you still need to protect him no matter what happens. So Zion Johnson, I think he, a plug-and-play player there at guard for the Cardinals. 24, Cowboys. This is probably one of my favorite, sleepers in this draft. Defensive tackle Devontae Wyatt out of Georgia. Kind of really do it all. He can rush the passer, he can stuff the run. I think Devontae Wyatt is a very, very good player. I don't think he has superstar potential, but I think he's going to be a solid player in this league for a very long time. And at 24, I think that's a perfect value for the Cowboys there. And they need some defensive line help, especially with whatever's going on with DeMarcus Lawrence. 25, Bills. I have them selecting wide receiver Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. Could have seen him go higher. This is kind of one of my fallers. He had a 4.55, 40-yard dash. I don't think the speed's that big of a deal. I don't think his 40 times that big of a deal. But I think at the Bills there, you pair him with Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs, a silky route runner, with Treylon Burks, this big, huge physical receiver. I think you're having a lot of fun there with Josh Allen. And you obviously have Gabriel Davis as well. So that trio is pretty cool, considering that Cole Beasley, it looks like, will be on his way out. 26, I had the Titans selecting edge Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State. I think this is another great value pick here. I don't think he has some of the upside of some of the other edge rushers in this class. I think he probably is the lowest out of, the ones we've talked about so far. Maybe Bar Karlaftis, but I like Jermaine Johnson. I think he's a solid edge rusher. There's some issues with his bend. I'm not sure if his bend is NFL level. We'll have to see. But I don't really see him. I know some people are saying he's a top 10, top 15 pick. I think he's more of a top 20, top 25 pick, but Titans get good value here with Jermaine Johnson. Buccaneers, 27th, they select Trent McDuffie, another out of Washington, another high thought of corner. I think he's going to be solid. Another good man corner, another guy who can really do it all. And this is a really strong corner class, so something to definitely take a look at. And not that many corners actually ended up going in this mock. So there's going to be a lot of really good ones in the second round sitting as well. 28, I think the Packers break their streak. I think they're all in on keeping Aaron Rodgers. Of course, as soon as, this video ends up going out, Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be gone and I'm going to look silly, but whatever. Wide receiver Jameson Williams out of Alabama. And I think he goes number 28 to the Packers. He's a nice 1-2 punch with Devontae Adams. Obviously had that injury in the national championship. Hopefully he, gets better, but I don't really have any concerns with that, with the injury or anything like that. I think he turns out to be a very good receiver at the NFL level. 29, another pick I really like, offensive tackle Trevor Penning, out of Northern Iowa. There's been some concerns about what his competition was like, but let me tell you this: at the Senior Bowl, he looked great. At the Combine, he looked great, and he just bullies people. So Dolphins need O-line help desperately. Whoever their quarterback is, they need help desperately. It's probably going to be Tua. You're going to need a protector. I think Trevor Penning definitely does the job. Chiefs wide receiver Chris Olave. I have them selecting him at number 30 out of Ohio State. We saw him. We initially thought he ran a 4.26. He ended up running a 4.39, but still very fast. Another really good receiver, kind of hidden behind Garrett Wilson a bit, but certainly a nice receiver to bring in, along with Tyreek Hill, obviously you have, and then you also have Kelsey, and just the Chiefs just keep piling on weapons on weapons. 31, the Bengals, I have them going offensive tackle Bernard Raymond out of Central Michigan. They need O-line help. He's the best O-line on the board, and that's really as plain and simple as it is. 32, and the final pick in this mock draft, I have the Lions selecting cornerback Kaiir Elam out of Florida. Another guy I like. I think he probably could go higher, but it just seemed like this is a nice fit. The Lions need corner desperately. The Lions need a lot of things desperately. But I think Elam, he's probably one of the better players available on this board. And I think he's a solid pick for the Lions, and I think he's going to be a nice physical corner at the next level. So that is it for this first round mock draft. Hope everyone enjoyed. Make sure to go follow us on Twitter at the Giant Take Pod. Subscribe down below, give us a like, and we hope everyone I hope everyone enjoyed the video. And we'll see you next time with some more Giant Take Podcast YouTube channel content. Peace.